Samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. May the Noble Triple Being bless you all. Today also we are going to start our Dhamm talks, one of the Dhamm talks. So far that we have talked about factors of enlightenment, and today we are about to talk about the enlightenment factor of tranquility, Passaddhi Sambuddhanga. So let's see what are the factors that we are going to talk about. So we are going to talk about the causes of arising the factor of enlightenment of tranquility, Passaddhi Sambuddhanga. The page number is 204. The causes for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. There are bhikkhus, tranquility of body, tranquility of mind. Frequently giving wise attention to them is a nutriment for the arising of the unarisen enlightenment factor of tranquility, and for the fulfillment by development of the arisen enlightenment factor of tranquility. Atti bhikkave kaya passaddi chitta passaddi tatta yoniso manasikara bahulikaro ayamaharo anuppannasava passaddi sambodhyangassa uppadaya uppannasava passaddi sambodhyangassa bhavanaya paripurya. So this is how the causes for the factor of enlightenment of tranquility are given in the commentary. According to that, there are 7 causes for the enlightenment factor of tranquility. So as above mentioned, there are 2 tranquilities, Kaya Passaddhi and Chitta Passaddhi. So the Kaya Passaddhi here does not mean just the physical body. Always Kaya refers to Chetasika, so the mental factors. And the Chitta refers to the mind. So here to develop this factor of tranquility, or the enlightenment factor of tranquility, is the yoniso manasikara, wise attention, as we've discussed almost all the bodhjangas. This factor, the yoniso manasikara, wise attention, is one of the main factors to develop these factors. So here it comes as well to develop tranquility. The wise attention is very important. And according to commentaries, Atua, there are 7 factors to develop the tranquility. Let's see what they are. Having delicious food, enjoying comfortable seasons, enjoying comfortable postures, equanimity in roads, devoid the persons who are restless in body, associating with persons who are composed, having the mentality inclined, sloping, slanting to the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. When taken a delicious meal, the body becomes more and more powerful, strength, and dissipates all difficulties of the body caused by weakness. Because of that, the practitioner's mind becomes calm. That is why it was said that having delicious food is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. But this should not be misunderstood, as delicious food is a requirement for a practitioner. Even for the practitioners who never get delicious food, arises the factor of enlightenment of tranquility through other causes. Therefore, Being greedy for the delicious food, one should not strive to find delicious food. Not receiving delicious food is not a barrier to the attainment of Nibbana. However, being greedy to food, seeking delicious food is a barrier to the attainment of Nibbana. Delicious food is a food not only for the factor of enlightenment, of tranquility, but also a food for much defilement. The practitioner who uses delicious food for the factor of enlightenment, of tranquility, should use it wisely. Otherwise, it will be a cause for the development of defilement. What is prescribed as delicious food in the world, like milk, ghee, meat, and fish, etc., are not wholesome for everybody. For some, they are not wholesome as well. Taking them is unwholesome for everyone if it would be an obstacle for the factor of enlightenment, of tranquility. In other words, whether it is delicious or not, if any food is suitable for the body of the practitioner, that will be a cause for the factor of enlightenment, of tranquility. 2. The best method for the practitioners is having the habit of being content with what is given. The practitioner should be interested to find another kind of food. Only the given is not eligible to him. The best food among all is a food that is prepared by oneself. Since it is against the code of discipline of the monks, they can never get this chance. For those who do not prepare their own food, the best food is the food prepared by a very close person. That is also get only by the lay persons. However, there are people who prepare and offer foods for monks with love, compassion, loving friendliness, and with the intention of keeping them in good health. That food is also the food offered by friends. Whatever the food, however much the value, or what a delicious, if the food is given without the good intention of the good health of the monks, that food is not suitable for the body as a food given by those who are friendly. The practitioners who have weak bodies and need to take delicious food must keep these factors in the mind. Especially the delicious food is a cause for the tranquility of the body. Tranquility of body causes the factor of enlightenment, of tranquility. So in Pali we call panita bhojana. So the having the proper or the delicious meals is one of the factors to develop tranquility. As mentioned here, at the same time, if the practitioner do not use them wisely, so the delicious meals can be a cause for defilements as well. So having the right meals is a cause for to develop the factor of tranquility, for because of different people uh, have to use different foods, because sometimes all the food do not suit for everyone. So somehow what this chapter says is having the right meals is a factor to develop the tranquility. Now the second one, enjoying the suitable seasons here means both cold and warm seasons. Season itself has a great power to give happiness and unhappiness to the human body. It causes suffering for the body that which is allergy for cold. On the contrary, the body that which is allergy for warm gives much suffering as well. Normally, when it is exceedingly either hot or cold, it causes suffering for all bodies. That bodily pain is a disturbance for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. Receiving hot and cold both as needed for the body. There arises happiness in the body. From that arises the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. Only by the practitioners who have weak bodies should seek good places where there is comfortable weather. The practitioners who have strong and healthy bodies can bear up anything. Any place is a good place for him or her. If the weather is not conducive to one's body at the place where one is living, it is good to find a suitable place by that practitioner. Changing places from time to time itself is a good thing for the practitioners. So it is about having the right seasons. As mentioned here, for some people, it's difficult to practice the spirituality or these factor of enlightenment in cold weather. Some cannot practice in hot weather. So the practitioners have to find the right weather to develop these factor of tranquility or the passaddhi. Enjoying the convenient postures here means the 4 postures, namely walking, standing, sitting, and laying down. All beings maintain this body by those 4 postures. Postures also have a great power for the arising of happiness and suffering. Staying on one posture, even for a short time, is also oppression. That oppression of the body is obstacle for the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. Staying on postures which are convenient to the body is happiness. That happiness is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. Therefore, using the postures which develops happiness was mentioned as causes for the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. Using these postures need also to be done wisely. Using exceedingly many postures which arise happiness also leads to the ruination of the meditation. So it was about the postures. As we all know, there are 4 postures: walking, standing, sitting, and laying down. So in all these postures, the practitioners can practice various meditation methods. So the practitioners have to find what is the best posture to develop concentration and this particular factor of enlightenment, which is tranquility. And it suggests that all the time it should not change the postures, because it can be a disturbance to develop the factors of enlightenment as well. Then the 4th one, the moderate in fraud. In Pali, it is called Majjatta Payogata. Means being moderate in accepting the karma as cause for the both happiness and unhappiness without being prejudiced, such as happiness and unhappiness both arise inadvertently. And happiness and unhappiness both are experienced according to the God's will. So it is about accepting the karma and practice the moderate or the equanimity in the situations.
Bante, what is the reference to God's will? I don't understand that.
Yes, that is without being prejudice, such as happiness, and we have to understand in that way. It is opposite way. For an example, when something bad happens or good happens, we should not think that is because of God's will or something like that. and it is because of karma or something like that.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's the way
That's
that we
clear.
have to think. Yes. Accepting karma as a cause is the middle path. The contemplation itself is a moderation in frauds. That itself is a cause for tranquility of body and tranquility of mind, and the factor of enlightenment of tranquility. That is the explanation given in the commentary and the sub-commentary. So accepting karma is not going to one of the extremes. As mentioned before, whatever bad happens or good happens, the practitioner has to contemplate on karma and practice sort of equanimity in the mind. And it helps to develop this particular factor of enlightenment. It is somewhat difficult to understand that the karma is one's own. Karma is the cause for both happiness and unhappiness, and it is a cause for tranquility. Practicing meditation exceedingly and not practicing meditation sufficiently, these two are two barriers for tranquility. It seems that moderating fraud means practicing moderately, neither practicing over exceedingly nor practicing less. This point is to be investigated. The next one, persons who are discomposed are those who are cruel and engage in fighting with others, using their own hands, legs, stones, roots, clubs, and bars, etc. Those who have no such cruel qualities are those who have calm bodies. A disassociation from the persons who have agitated bodies and association with who are composed is cause for tranquility. And so it is about associating the right people. So those who do not have this factor of enlightenment, tranquility, so they are, as mentioned here, sort of cruel and engaging in fighting. So we have to avoid those sort of people and find two people, those who are trying to develop or those who have these qualities or these spiritual faculties, and it is a reason to develop to this factor. So the last one is the seventh factor is having the mentality inclined, sloping, slanting to the factor of enlightenment of tranquility, as we discussed about earlier. All the factors of enlightenment that we have to have this factor all the time, having the mind or leaning mind towards to develop these factors of enlightenment. So it is common for all the spiritual practices, the mindfulness and all the virtues that we are supposed to develop, that we have to do all the actions, bodily actions, mental actions, verbal actions, to leaning towards to develop spiritual qualities. So it is also a reason to develop this factor of enlightenment, which is called the tranquility Passaddhi Sambodhanga. Okay, now we can move on to the next one. So do you have any questions to discuss about? So what we have discussed about this tranquility, the enlightenment of tranquility.
One thing I found the way that they described about the food is quite surprising.
Yes.
Because normally you would think that you would just eat plain food and not take any pleasure in it. And
Yes, there's something called Bojana Sappaya. So
Mhm.
the proper food is a reason to develop to spiritual qualities.
Mm. They're probably referring more in terms of proper for your health rather than just the taste, I suppose.
Yes, that's what it means. Yes.
Mm.
And that's why it mentioned there is it can be a reason to develop many defilements as well.
Mm.
So we
Yeah.
have to be mindful.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay. So let's see the second one, the next one. The causes for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of concentration. Samadhi Sambojjhanga. There are monks, the sign of serenity, the sign of non-dispersal. Frequently giving wise attention to them is the nutriment for the arising of the unarisen enlightenment factor of concentration, and for the fulfillment by development of the arisen enlightenment factor of concentration. අත්තිභික්කවේ සමත නිමිත්තම් අභ්‍යග්ග නිමිත්තම් තත්ත යෝනිසෝ මනසිකාර බහුලීකාරෝ අයමාහාරෝ අනුපන්නස්සවා සමාධි සම්බොජ්ජංගස්ස උපාදාය. උපන්නස්සවා සමාධි සම්බොජ්ජංගස්ස භාවනාය පාරිපූර්ණා. Here in this passage, there are two things. The sign of serenity, samatha nimitta, and the sign of non-dispersal, abhyagga nimitta. Both these are used for the same thing. Example, concentration. It is called the sign of serenity to denote that the cause for the state of collectedness of mind or the unification of mind. It is called the non-dispersal of the mind because it is the cause for the non-distractedness of the mind to many objects. So the same thing explained in two ways based on how it works. That's why samatha nimitta and abhyagga nimitta means. So the samatha nimitta means the mind is concentrated on a particular object. The abhyagga nimitta means the mind is not distracted. That's why these two names are named because of the how the concentration works. In the commentary, there are 11 causes for the factor of enlightenment of concentration. They are as follows. So there are 11 factors in the commentary Atua to develop this factor of concentration, samadhi, sambojjhanga. Clearance of the objects, both internal and external. Maintenance of the equilibrium of the spiritual faculties, like the faculty of confidence in their powers. Equilibrium means here the balance. Ability to take the object of meditation, such as kasina devices. Supporting the mind at the proper time to support. Reducing the speed of the mind at the proper time to reduce the speed. Enjoying the mind at the proper time to enjoying the mind. Moderation of the mind when the mind is in equilibrium in meditation. Avoiding the persons who have no concentration. Association with the persons who have concentration. Contemplation on the things like jhana, paths, and fruitions, and the mind inclined to arouse, the factor of enlightenment of concentration. These are the 11 factors, cause for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of concentration. In Pali, ekadasa dhamma samadhi sambujjhangassa uppadaya sammattati. Pattu visada kiriyata indriya samatta patipadanata nimitta kusalata. Same chittassa pagganhanata, same chittassa nigganhanata, same Sampahan sanata, same ajjupekkanata, samahita puggala අසමාහිත පුද්ගල පරිවර්ජනතා සමාහිත පුද්ගල සේවනතා ජාන විමුක්ක පච්චවෙක්කනතා තදදි මුත්තතා. So those are 11 factors in Pali. The first and the second factor, the purification of internal and external objects, vattu visada kiriyata, and the equilibrium of the spiritual faculties, indriya samatta patipadanata, are the causes for the factor of enlightenment of the investigation of the Dhamma as well. Since these two factors were elaborated in the section of the factor of enlightenment of the investigation of the Dhamma, here we do not explain them again. These two factors are mainly cause for concentration. Since they are the causes for concentration, they become the causes for the investigation of the Dhamma as well. The Buddha said the concentrated one sees things as they really are. Samahito yataha bhutam pajanati. So, purification of internal and external objects means things what we use, or the body means internal. Vattu visada kiriyata. The clothes and the body and the surroundings what we use, like a room, maybe room or where we live. So these things should be cleaned. So it is a factor to develop this the concentration of the samadhi. Then we've discussed about the spiritual faculties, equilibrium of the spiritual faculties. For an example, we've discussed panya and samadhi should be sort of same, not develop one more than the other, and it could lead to some misunderstanding. For example, those who develop the panya more than the saddha, then he could do something misleading. For an example, he would think like, okay, practicing dana and things like that is not more important, and practicing only meditation that develop these virtues or something like that. So those who have developed more saddha than the panya would please their minds to unsuitable occasions to develop saddha. Like that, these the faculties, spiritual faculties, should be balanced to develop this concentration. And we've discussed earlier in the Dhammavichaya Sambojjhanga, investigation of the Dhamma, and the Sati Sambojjhanga as well. Okay, then there are methods to practice meditation like kasina to gain concentration and to understand it clearly to the mind. The ability to take the object like the kasina device means the ability to practice different meditation methodically and systematically. The one who practices meditation wrongly cannot gain concentration, though gains not that easily or soon, but after a long time. Therefore, understanding to practice meditation systematically is a cause for factor of enlightenment of concentration. Is learning the meditation objects like kammattahana. So there are different methods. I think you already know there are around 40 meditation methods, the samatha or the concentration meditation methods. So learning them is also having pretty good understanding about them is also a reason or a factor to develop the concentration, the samadhi. Sometimes because of the lack of energy, etc., the mind of the practitioner becomes contracted or discouraged. Then it is the proper time to support and encourage the mind. If not supported, not encouraged, at that time to reinforce the mind power, the unarisen concentration does not arise, and the arisen concentration also winds down. Therefore, supporting and encouraging the mind when it is contracted and discouraged is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of concentration. What is to be done for the encouragement and supporting of the mind when contracted and discouraged is arousing factor of enlightenment of the investigation of the Dhamma, the factor of energy, and the factor of rapture. Sometimes the power of the mind of the practitioners is over exceeding. Then the mind starts to vacillate. That too is a disturbance for the concentration. Then the power of mind should be reduced. Reducing the power of the mind at the proper time itself is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of concentration. What is to be done for the reducing of power of the mind is developing the factor of enlightenment of tranquility, factor of concentration, and the factor of equanimity. Mind is to be delighted at the proper time. This is how the mind is to be delighted, as non-greed is the proximate cause for generosity. Loving friendliness is the proximate cause for virtue. Wisdom is the proximate cause for meditation. The proximate cause means the nearest cause for something to happen. When practicing meditation, especially, wisdom should be well developed and sharp. The function of wisdom is specifically essential for the practice of meditation. As the curry is not satisfactory without sufficient salt and sour spice, the practitioner's mind without sufficient function of wisdom is insatiate. The person whose wisdom is not properly in function is his practice of meditation is also not successful. Therefore, he is not gained satisfaction, which is to be obtained through the dissipation of defilement and the collectedness of the mind. Unsatisfactoriness of meditation that the practitioner is engaged is a cause for the unarisen of concentration as well as a declension of concentration. If the mind is stimulated at the time of not stimulated, then there arises concentration. That arisen concentration comes to maturity and development. Therefore, get one's mind satisfied with stimulation is a cause for the arising and the development of the factor of enlightenment of concentration. What is to be done for the gaining of satisfaction for the mind that which is not satisfied is the contemplation either upon the qualities of the Buddha or the 8 types of topics for the arising of sense of urgency. Atta Samvega Vattu. Here the topics for the arising of sense of urgency means the topics which cause for the arousing of the sense of urgency of Dhamma Samvega. The 8 kinds of topics are as follows: birth, decay, disease, death, birth in hell, the past samsaric suffering, future samsaric suffering, suffering for the seeking of food. So contemplating them develops the sangvega, or the sense of urgency, which is a factor to develop the wisdom, and it leads to develop the factor of enlightenment of concentration. So time to time that we have to contemplate about these factors, about the birth, decay, diseases. So as long as we or the beings have the defilements or the true causes for the rebirth, which means then we are not free from the birth again and again. And infinite times that we are bound to get a rebirth, since we have the causes like the craving, hatred, ignorance, and all these. So thinking in that way helps to develop sense of urgency, Dhamma Sangvega, which means it helps to develop the wisdom. Then the decay, disease is also the same, that we have to think about, that we are not freed from these 8 factors. And as we contemplate them, we can develop the sense of urgency, Dhamma Sangvega, which helps to develop the Panya and to develop this Samadhi. Moderation about the mind at the proper time means when the mind is properly fixed in meditation, without any contraction or confusion, but satisfactorily carry on without striving to control emotions. Like the charioteer who is equanimous by seeing the 2 horses that draw the chariot equally. By the same token, if the mind that which is neither contracted nor confused is going to be stimulated, that would be also an obstacle for the concentration. That is how being moderation at the proper time becomes a cause for the factor of enlightenment of concentration. Living disassociation from unconcentrated persons means living with those who do not practice concentration and have neither excess concentration nor full concentration. Those who are concentrated are those who have either excess concentration or full concentration. So excess concentration means quite close concentration, upachara samadhi, and full concentration means the jhana samadhi.
Bhante, what is meant by the contracted mind?
Like in Sinhalese we call hakilunu. So maybe the mind which is not interested in developing the spiritual virtues. In Pali there's a word called arati. Sort of mindset, when the mind has that contracted nature, it does not enjoy the developed virtues. So then we have to develop proper other conditions to avoid that.
Okay.
Yes, that is contracted mind. Okay, and where we were. Moderating about the mind at the proper times means the mind is properly fixed in meditation. We read that. Living disassociation from the Concentrated persons means living with those who do not practice concentration and neither excess concentration or full concentration. Those who are concentrated are those who have either excess concentration or full concentration. When look at the world with inquisitive mind, one can see that the same qualities have been inculcated in the minds of the similar persons with whom they always associate. The same is truth with the persons who have confused minds and no development of concentration, since the mind of the person who associates with them is also merges with the same persons. Practicing and gaining concentration among such confused minded persons is difficult. Living among such confused persons, for those who have gained fairly good concentration, also will lose their concentration. That is why it is said that disassociation from the persons who are void of concentration is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of concentration. So avoiding those who do not have developed the concentration is also a factor to develop the concentration. For the person who develops concentration while associating and living with the persons who have concentration arises easily. When dwells among the persons who have concentration, the arisen concentration also remains without dissipating. So there's a thing called Puggalopi Upanisse Pacche Nipaccho. So those who we associate have a great influence on our behavior. So having the right people around is a cause to develop the spiritual qualities, not only concentration or whatever the virtues we like to develop. We have to find the right people. So those who associate have a great influence to develop the virtues, or even the other way around. So the bad qualities also can come from bad people. So that's why the Buddha, the Supreme Buddha, almost all the time encouraged to have the right people, the good friends, the Kalyana Mittata, and not to associate with foolish or the bad people. That is why it is said that the association with those who have concentration is a cause for the arising of the factor of concentration. When there are no persons who are engaged in meditation or have gained concentration to associate with for the practitioners, it is better to live alone. However, associating with true persons, if possible, is better than living alone. One should not think that living alone itself is a great thing. So that is about the samadhi, the concentration, the factor of enlightenment of concentration. Let's see the last one as well, the equanimity. The causes for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of equanimity, upekka sambodhanga. Mahinda Mahatmya, do we have to discuss about the previous one?
Not really, Bante. I just had a question that came to my mind. At the very beginning, you mentioned the word kaya is used for the Chaitasika. That comment, Bante, is a little not very clear
Yes,
to me.
it was not explained here much. So as we've discussed in,
Yes.
in the Abhidhamma
Yes, you have mentioned it in the Abhidhamma as well,
yeah,
but it's
there's
not
a
been clear to me.
factor of um, like kaya passaddhi.
Passaddhi.
Yes, it always refers to the chetasika. So kaya means like multiple something like meaning is there. Kaya is not just the physical body. Yes, when we develop the tranquility, our body also starts to have that tranquility. But here it refers to the tranquility of the mental factors and the mind. There's no detailed explanation about that here, right?
Yes, Bhante, not here, but you mentioned it, and I remember you mentioned it in the Abhidhamma class also,
Yes.
but it was not clear to me. That's why.
Mm. And even when we practice the in the Satipatthana Sutta,
Mm-hmm.
it also explained about that kaya. What is the um, asasa kaya, something like that. Passasa kaya.
So the word kaya is like the aggregate, is it?
Not aggregate here. Here means the samuha in Sinhalese we call.
Moya. Oh.
Mm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's collectively the mental factors.
Yes. Mental factors. Yes, that's how it refers in most of the occasions.
So the mind is referred to separately and the mental factors are referred to separately.
Yes. We've
That,
discussed there are 6 pairs of chaitasikas, the mental factors, like kaya passaddhi, chitta passaddhi, kaya lahuta, chitta lahuta, something like that.
yes, ma'am.
There are 6 pairs. So all the time, the kaya means the chetasikas.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you, Bhante.
So it's okay. Right. So the let's see the next one, the last factor of enlightenment, the equanimity, the causes for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. There are amongst things that are the basis for the enlightenment factor of equanimity. Frequently giving wise attention to them is the nutriment for the arising of the unarisen nutriment. Factor of equanimity, and for the fulfillment by development of the arisen enlightenment factor of equanimity. අත්තිබික්කවේ උපෙක්ඛා සම්බොජ්ජංගට්ඨානියා ධම්මා තත්ත යෝනිසෝ මනසිකාර බහුලීකාරෝ අයමාහාරෝ අනුප්පන්නස්සවා උපෙක්ඛා සම්බොජ්ජංගස්ස උප්පාදාය uppannasava upekka sambojjhangasa bhavanaya paripurya. Here means ahara means the cause or the reasons, and wise attention means the yoniso manasikara. As started here, equanimity itself is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. The frequent contemplation of the factor of enlightenment of equanimity with wise attention and its benefits is the cause for the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. There are 5 causes given for the factor of enlightenment of equanimity in the commentary. So before that, let me add something. When we develop the spiritual qualities, there are 2 ways that we can think. As briefly mentioned here, the wise attention means the benefit of, contemplation of benefits of these enlightenment factors. So we can think in the benefits of whatever the spiritual qualities, the virtues that we develop, and it helps us to develop them. And the danger of not developing them, adinava and anisansa, dassavita. So that is also one of the ways that we can contemplate to develop the spiritual qualities. Not only this, whatever we are supposed to develop the spiritual qualities, that we can contemplate in those two ways: anisansa, or the benefits of developing them, and the danger of not developing them. So here it mentioned one of them as the wise attention. Okay, let's see the factors. The moderation in attitude towards beings, moderating acquisitions. Here, moderate means the neutral, or the neutrality, or the equanimity. Disassociation from the covetous, who are fondling the acquisitions of beings. Association with those who have moderate attitude towards the acquisitions of beings. Having the mind which inclines for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. Panchadhamma upekka sambujjhangassa uppadaya samvartati. Satta majjattata, sankhara majjattata, satta sankhara kelayana puggala parivajjanata, satta sankhara majjatta puggala sevanata tadadi mutara. So those are the 5 factors in Pali. Let's see in detail. Those beings here are humans, etc. The acquisitions are clothes and ornaments, etc. Avoiding both attachment and repulsion of acquisition and maintaining equanimity is a cause for the arising of factor of enlightenment of equanimity. Therefore, it is mentioned that both equanimity in beings and equanimity in the acquisitions are the causes for the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. Some are badly attached to acquisitions of beings. Even some monks always spend their time with keeping their disciples at hand and talking with them, and appreciating and enjoying with their activities. If the disciples are not around, then start to inquire and seek where have they been. They passionately dislike others, talk with their disciples, forget about getting something done by them. This type of consolation is called Satta Kelayana, which means playing and fondling with beings. Some persons, when they get a certain item, they neither take the benefit of it nor let others to take the benefit of it, but just keep it touching and petting it. That is what is called Sankhara Kelayana, meaning playing and fondling of the things. Association with such stingy persons who delightfully enchanting with acquisitions of being or playing with the acquisitions of being is an obstacle for the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. Association with those who have neither attachment nor repulsion for acquisition of beings and maintaining equanimity is a cause for the factor of enlightenment of equanimity. Having the mind of inclination to the arousal of the factor of enlightenment is a cause for the arising of the development of all factors of enlightenment. So the first one, moderating in attitude towards the beings, then about acquisitions. So these are easily understood. So whoever we associate, that we should not have strong attachment. We have to associate them, having understood that one day that we have to leave all of them behind. And even what we use, the materials mentioned as acquisitions here, we should not strongly attach to them as well. So then we can develop this particular spiritual quality called equanimity. And let's see. Yes. And disassociation from those people who have strong desires towards the things or their loved ones is also is a reason to develop the equanimity. Here the covetous means a strong desire, a strong attachment. Yes, and having the mentality, the mindset to develop this virtue or the factor of enlightenment is also a course to develop them. So as we mentioned in all the enlightenment factors, here it is mentioned as well, and it is a factor to develop all the other factors of enlightenment, to having the mindset always to develop the virtues. So it is about the equanimity, the last one. Okay. So today that we've discussed about three the factors of enlightenment, which was about yes, tranquility, the Passaddhi Sambojjhanga. We've discussed about the causes for the arising of the factor of enlightenment of tranquility, the Passaddhi Sambojjhanga, then Samadhi Sambojjhanga and the Upekka Sambojjhanga. Anything to be discussed about the last one, Mahinda Mahatma?
The tranquility and the equanimity are somewhat similar in nature, Bhante.
But equanimity is a bit different than that, because yes, these all the factors are interdependent. But the last one is a bit different. It is about
Non-attachment, is it?
yes, sort of non-attachment is also helpful to maintain the even-mindedness. Yes.
They're all very subtle qualities, isn't it?
Subtle qualities, yes.
Because some level of, shall we say, attachment is required to live your daily life, but it's
Yes,
just
what
moderation.
what he suggests is to keep it in moderate. Yes, moderation. Yes, having too much attachment or too much or the strong desires is not only to develop this sort of the factors of enlightenment, it is a danger for any whatever virtue that we are supposed to develop. Yes. So then I think that we can discuss the rest of the things in the next week.
Yes.
Yes, when we can finish about the factors of enlightenment, then we can start the last one about the noble path. Okay, then. Okay, then let's wind up today. So today also that we discuss the factors of enlightenment, and we generated enormous amounts of wholesome thoughts by discussing this noble Dhamma. So let's dedicate the merits to departed relatives. May all our departed relatives accept these merits and be happy, well, and prosperous. Idammi ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idhammi nang hotu sukitha huntu ñātayo. Idhammi nang hotu sukitha huntu ñātayo. Let's transfer these merits to the Devas as well. May all the deities accept these merits and may protect all of us. Itthavata amhihi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya itthavata amhihi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya itthavata amhihi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya itthavata amhihi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. By the power of the merits that we've generated today, may lead us to supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thiruvan Saranai Hamdenatama.
Much merit to you, Bante.
Thank you, thank you. Yes.